Hello, everybody. If anyone is there, we're gonna let's go live. I like doing live streams. Not gonna lie to you. I don't know. Someone had asked me if YouTube is trying to demonetize my channel because they said my live stream from last night is still showing up as live feed on your vid list and no notifications for new vids being sent out. That's Paul. Paul says that, man, I have no idea what's going on. Hey, what's going on, Bill C? I have no idea what's going on with that. I saw that myself every time. Hey, Mark, right on. Hey, guys. I assume y'all got notifications. Hey, Jill, finally a notification. That's crazy. You're getting notifications. I don't know what YouTube does. I have no idea. I did see, there you go. I did see on my own stream here that it said I was live a couple times. I said, that's weird because I wasn't. And I was getting people, hot job KT. I was getting people responding on the comments section of the chat. Where'd he go? Hold on a second. Oh, thanks, buddy. And I was like, how do people respond? Hey, Brett, what's going on? Angelo, que paso? Your notifications, holy crap. Hey, Gary. So if y'all would just say if you got notified in there, if you don't mind, because we already got 23 on. I just started, and I didn't tell anybody I was going to do this Monday night. But if you got notified, that's pretty cool to know. I have no clue what YouTube does. I have no idea. At this stage, you know, I like doing live streams. Not gonna lie to you, I enjoy it immensely. It's kind of weird, I guess. And I got a whole crap load of Q&As I want to go over to as well. So all the way live, Hoolan. I haven't seen you for a little bit, Gary K. Paso. Great to hear some of my wisdom, which is quite frightening, actually. You got notified. All right, Nancy. That's crazy, man. Yeah, all right. Yeah, got notified. Not notified, says Doug. No, let's go Flyers. Ooh, I saw the all right, cool. All right, good. Lots of notifications. Already got 25 people on there. I saw the Bees won last night. They beat Tampa. They had a 3-goal lead going into 8 minutes left in the third, and they squandered it. They only won by 1 goal. I'm sure that last minute was Panicville, which is why I can't watch, because if I did, of course, Pablo notified. Right on, Dana, right on. Oh, there he is. So the Bees did pull out the game last night. And of course, well, thanks, buddy. If I were to have watched, I would have lost. The Islanders already up 1-0, Mark. What the hell is going on with the Islanders, man? Out of nowhere, the Islanders showing up. Notified pop-up, right? My man Craig says he doesn't own a Honda or Toyota. He has a 2013 Bolt and 2012 Equinox are paid for. Great, yeah. My man Hot Job KT or lady, I don't know, says if we communicate, do we communicate by phone or no? Yeah, dude, it's or lady, but it's by phone and Zoom calls. I actually had Zoom was down this morning. It actually ticked me off, but we got it back. Zoom was down this morning, but we do Zoom meetings and email, but mostly the telephone, the old-fashioned phone and via Zoom for sure, if that makes sense. But I got to share my screen to go over what my findings are, if that makes sense. Yeah, good day in the market. All right, so a couple things I want to start with. I was stunned to see this. Now remember the Dow. Hey, Roxanne, right on. All right, I hadn't seen you around for a little bit. Out of nowhere, the Islanders, exactly. 2011 Lexus. It's stunning, I'm telling you. 2008 Saturn. Oh man, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna show you my first. We had hold on a second. We're gonna go to DuckDuckGo because we don't trust Google, even though I just got these Google extenders. Oh boy, I'm gonna show you my first car ever. Toyota Corolla. Right here, man. It's the first car I ever owned. Hold on a second. Yep, right. If I can bring this up, blink. Right there, and we're gonna share my screen. And this is my first car I ever owned right here. Didn't look like that. It was a 2-door Toyota Corolla. That didn't look like mine did. Mine was a hatchback like this right here. Something like that. It's a hatchback. Kind of like that right there. That was is a gray hatchback. That looks like a 2-door. Anyway, man, I love that car. Kind of like this right here, one of these guys. And oh man, I love that. Like this right here, except it's gray. I'd still be driving that sucker. We're coming back from Rochester, New York. We saw Suicidal Tendencies down in Rochester, New York, and or was it Nuclear Assault? We saw Nuclear Assault in Syracuse. It's come back from Rochester, New York, back to Fort Drum. We saw Suicidal Tendencies in Rochester, New York, and coming back, and I was drunk as a skunk and a monk, and so I wasn't driving. My man, I forgot his name, but he was driving, and we hit a big deer. I mean, that sucker was huge. Oops. And we still on here? And man, that was it was in the middle of the winter time, in between Rochester and Fort Drum, New York, some freaking podunk road off of 81. And man, I tell you what, I don't know how we got home that next day because I was drunk as a skunk. It was nuts. And but the car was totaled. I called that car was Betsy. I bought it for $500 off my mom, and that was the first. I didn't know how to drive a stick, so my mom's in Maine. I go up there. I think I took a Greyhound bus. No, my man Mugford from New Hampshire. He drove me up there. We had like a 4-day weekend, and he drove me up there in the middle of the wintertime. I remember that, to get the car from my mom. I remember going down some going through northern New York, through Vermont, and then to New Hampshire, going down these windy roads in the middle of the freaking wintertime. Scared the living daylights out of me, man. And we're freaking going down like this. There's black ice all over the place. Scared it hell. Anyway, so we make it to my mom's house, thankfully. And the next day I buy this car. Didn't know how to drive a stick. And she goes, well, you're gonna have to learn, I guess. I said, I guess you're right. I just remember going down 95, through the New Hampshire, Maine, the toll booth thing there. Was it? Yeah. And I just remember just like that. I was, oh my goodness. But you figured out, and next thing you know, there you are, you're cruising along. Orange Camaro, 1980 Buick Regal. Oh man. Oh, hey, thanks, girl. There's Chloe, everybody. Hey, Chloe. Chloe was very worried about her math test today, but she smoked it. Isn't that right, girl?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
We don't know yet.
No, we know you did, girl. We love you. That's Chloe. She's like, my life is gonna be over if I don't do well on my math test. I said, Chloe, don't worry. She goes, that's gonna be over. No college is gonna want me. No one's gonna hire me. Blah blah blah. I said, oh, for the love of Mary. Drama queen, that girl. She gets it from me. Love my Toyota Corolla. I can still drive that thing too, man. Jill, the hideous brown hatchback, 1985 Plymouth Horizon. Oh man, to drive to my first teaching job in high school in math physics. Electric bike, a 72 Le Mans, man. Toyota Turco, right on, Mary. Toyota Turco, yeah. We had one, Charlotte and I. I bought one from Jack Taylor Toyota, and right off Route 1 in Alexandria. Was it Route 1? I can't remember. We drove that to Phoenix, and we had that. I think we did trade in Phoenix. All right, it's cool, man. That's good stuff. All right, yeah, life would be over. I was like, Chloe, nobody cares. But I said, look, 'cause I basically did not graduate high school. I mean, I did, but I had like a 1.8 or something like that. I was like, we had 650 kids in our class, and I was probably the lowest ranking white kid in my school for a senior in 1988, graduating. And I don't know what I was, 500, 400, something like that. I just, graduated by skin of my teeth or whatever. And I said, look at me, I'm doing fine. She goes, yeah, but I don't want to be like you. I don't want to go to the Army. I say, go to community college, man. All right, so here we go. This is a good question. Yeah, right on, Roxanne. I'll get to you here in just a second. I am Jack Jesse. That infuriates me, Roxanne, about the hydrochloroquine. Oh, how dare you say hydrochloroquine? You're going to be banned. Look, man, the truth freaking is the truth. If they want to ban me, and they got to do what they got to do. Which is why, if you haven't signed up for my website, please do. And what you do, let me just share with you here again. You go to, all right, oops, hold on just a second. Hold on just a sec. I haven't sent many emails lately. I've been busy. The last 2 months, I've been busy as a freaking skunk, man. If a skunk's busy, I don't know if a skunk's busy, but I've been busy as a skunk. And I've just been doing a lot of videos because I'm trying to stay in good shape, to be honest with you. So I've been walking a lot and whatnot, doing a lot of videos, talking to a lot of clients. I haven't written that much. I've been working my book. Yes, I have, believe it or not, slowly but surely, but I haven't emailed people on my email list very often. I just haven't. So it kind of ebbs and flows. But anyway, the issue is if I ever get banned, you can find me right here. So what you'd want to do is you go to, if I go, yeah, all right. So let's go to heritagewealthplanning.com, and there we go, heritagewealthplanning.com. And what you'll do is you'll get this, and you should get a pop-up here in just a second. It might not show up because I put it that it doesn't show up, I think once every, I don't know, freaking 10 days or something like that. But there'll be a pop-up. If you haven't been to my website, there'll be a pop-up, and you can download my book on the tax bomb in your retirement account for free. It's just a PDF. You're not getting a free copy, but it's a PDF. But if that pop-up doesn't show up, then you just want to go to connect, and you connect here. My man Dave Simon, we had some issues with the form here, and it should be working fine now. So we changed it. There's there's my man Dave from Simon Web Design. And so what happened was there were some issues with the form for the last about 3 days straight. I was getting a lot of people who had a hard time with the form because the CAPTCHA thing, and we just took that off. So there's no more CAPTCHA thing. But anyway, just you put your name. It's just you put Joe Schmo, your email, sign up for newsletter, and these other things here. So anyway, only thing I have gotten the last couple of days, probably bordering. I hate this is going to sound bad. Probably 8 to 10 very long-winded emails about their anyway, so you sign up for my newsletter and I'll put you in automatically, if that makes sense. So how can I say this without being rude? I've just had a number of people last couple of days with long-winded emails that are, what do you think about my plan? This, freaking, I just delete them. I just don't, I feel bad because it took the time to look at them, to write that. I don't have the time to read all through that. Certainly I can't give you any guidance on it because you're not paying me. That's all there is to it. I just got people paying me $1,200 to $2,500 a pop. And I can't give it away for free. It's just not fair to them. And it's not fair to me, frankly. And I don't want to sound like I'm being rude, but I just don't have the time to give. I'm just not going to do it. So if you send a big email to me, I don't know, friggin' couple of chapters, it's just going to go to trash. And I sound bad, but I simply, what I have found is that it's ruder, in my opinion, to send an email that says, sorry, I can't respond, I don't have the time, than not to respond at all, if that makes sense. So I want you to know that if you don't hear from me, I just deleted it. And the reason I deleted it is because if I would respond in a curt way, that's even ruder than if I didn't respond at all. That's just my feeling on that. Anyway, so I just want you to know that if you are sending me, and I will say, I don't know, how can I say this again without being rude? If you send me a lot of stuff on that, and you say, hey, can you do a video on this or something like that? I just won't. I just won't. I don't think it's fair to people who pay me. Is all there is to it. So anyway, all right. So let's go over here. We got. I want to ask. My man asked me a question. Oh, that's what I was going to say about hydrochloroquine. If they ever do ban me on my YouTube, that's how you can keep in touch with what I'm doing. I am on Library now. LBRY. I haven't really posted much stuff there, but I couldn't figure out how to get my stuff from YouTube to post automatically on BitChute. Well, let's look up, if we can look up Library. Let's do that right now too. So just while we're chatting, I actually think this Library thing is actually pretty cool. So let's go over here real quick. Library.tv is what it is. LBR, hold on just a second. LBRY.tv. Now look, I like YouTube. YouTube's been good to me. I'm not sitting here I'm not going away from YouTube, but you just don't know who's going to jump on your stuff here, who's going to ban you or whatnot. So this is LBYRTV. There's my man Tim Pool. Here's Jack Spear, who I follow. I don't know who these other people are. Millie Weaver. Oh, that lady, Millie Weaver. I don't know who she came up on one of my feeds. I don't know who this chick is, but so I don't know any of these guys. But I do follow Jack Spirko, and I follow my man Tim Pool. But anyway, so here's Library, and I'm on here now. And I guess it's under Heritage Wealth Planning. So Heritage Wealth Planning, and I think I'm not going to do it right now, but I think if you, well, actually, maybe I will. Let's see, Heritage Wealth Planning, and I'm not going to. I mean, at this stage, I'm not. Yeah, there I am. Hey, sweet. Oh yeah, it does. It. I don't know what all this stuff is. Yeah, I'm not sure what these channels are, so I don't know what that's about. But yeah, I'm not. Let's go here. I don't know what auto news is and all that. Yeah, here you go. Hey, it does. It automatically posts it to library. That's fantastic. Ah, sweet. So anytime I post a video on YouTube, it posts it here. See, I couldn't figure out how to do that with BitChute. So I love that. So it's LBRY. It's .com initially, but then it's actually .tv. I just did this like 2 days ago, and it moved like 1,000 of my videos. That's fantastic. Sweet, man. And even my thumbnails too. Yay. Oh, that's fantastic. All right, cool. So I did not know that. I don't know. I mean, it's just like I'm ignorant about how library works, but I like being able to have my content saved here without me having to do the grunt work on it. So that's pretty cool. And there's something about like you get these library coin. I don't know how it works. If any of y'all know want to give tutorials on this, that's great. I just wanted to have my stuff backed up, if that makes sense. So anyway, if I ever get banned from YouTube, go to lbry.tv, but definitely just sign up for my my blog at Heritage Wealth Planning. All right, so that's what I was saying. So just real quick, if for those of you who are just watching, didn't see my video earlier, I was dealing with a guy today. I'm just going to repeat this because it's so freaking critically important. I talked to him 3 weeks ago as a client. Nice guy, salt the earth dude. Nice guy. And long story short, the next day he was sick, and he got a tingle in his throat. A couple of days later, he started getting real bad, got fever. Fever's 102 degrees. Take some ibuprofen and Tylenol, they said. So he took ibuprofen and Tylenol. 8 days later, he doesn't know who he is. He's delusional. He's hallucinating. He's lost 16 pounds. He can't sleep. He can't do anything. He's still got a fever. His fever never broke. And they kept saying, take Tylenol and ibuprofen. He's like, and he doesn't know what's going on now. His wife is thankfully. And the irony not only was, but his wife had the flu-like symptoms too. She had coronavirus, but it didn't hurt her nearly as bad as it hurt him. She had the flu. If you ever had the flu freaking sucks, dude. Anyway, and his son had it too, but his son, all he did was lost his sense of smell and sense of taste for 2 weeks. That's it, which is, it sucks, but it's not the same as having a fever for under 2 days, for 8 days straight. Losing all his weight, he's dead to rights. He's about to die. Truly, he's about to die because his doctor, who ultimately did prescribe hydrochloroquine, said you're gonna die, and he knew it. He's like, this is it. And 4 hours later, gone, fever gone. Now he's back up. Now he's not freaking going marathons yet. He's got to build his body back up. But hydrochloroquine saved this guy's life. And I just the idea that just because Trump promotes it or that we don't have any studies on blind taste tests, call that crap, what they call it, blind some BCT or something like that. I don't know what the hell it is. That the facts are, we know it does work. May not work for everybody, but if you're on death's door, I guarantee you don't give two craps. You say, give it to me, man, because if I don't get it, I'm dead. 57 years old, man. 57 years old. Doesn't smoke. I don't know how big the guy is. I don't know. He lives in the South, so we can probably presume they're, heavier, I imagine. I don't know. And hydrochloroquine, if he didn't have it, would have died. But the sad thing was all the other people, the hospital couldn't give it to him. The other docs couldn't get it to him. Thankfully, his wife is a very, let's put it this way, persistent chap of the Southern sorts. And she wouldn't take a no for an answer. And she knew a guy, thankfully, that has been big on saying this is a solution. Might not work for everybody, but for everybody, it's kind of like going back to the kid on the ocean, on the beach, throwing starfish back in the water. Some old guy says, kid, what are you doing? He goes, I'm saving starfish. And the old guy looks and goes, look at all these hundreds of thousands of starfish. You're not gonna be able to save them all. The kid says, I don't have to save them all. He picks up one and shows him. I'm just saving him. Chucks it. So hydrochloroquine, just one life there, Andrew Cuomo. It saved just one life, friggin' scumbag. If it saved one life, well, how about the other way too there, sucker? Oh, it just infuriates me. These guys playing politics with your lives. Infuriates me. This guy's only 8 years older than me, man. He's got a kid that's still in high school. Yeah, scumbag. Anyway, share that if you would, because it's true. And I tell you, just because some black Nigerian lady who everyone's for some reason all of a sudden being racist on when we're not supposed to be racist, just because she might have said something that seems controversial too. I don't give two craps. As my man Jack Sparrow said, for atheists, your belief in Christianity or Muslims is crazy too. You see what I'm saying? And if you're an atheist, you're like, you believe there's a supernatural being that created the world. Yeah, that's crazy. So if I say anything positive about hydrochloroquine because I believe in the resurrection of Jesus Christ, that's crazy. It's no different. It's no different. If she has a point and it needs to be heard and she saved people with her actual experience as providing this to people whose lives are on the line, why would we just discount her? Oh, because she's Nigerian. She must be hoodoo, freaking voodoo stuff. It's freaking racist. You never say that about some freaking doctor at MIT or something like that. All right, here's my man. I am Jack Jesse. He says, pay mortgage and have huge amount of money just sitting there or invest in the stock market. Pay mortgage and have huge amount of money just see that sounds mutually exclusive. Pay mortgage and have huge amount of money just sitting there. Would it be pay off mortgage with that huge amount of money sitting there or invest in stock market? So I'm confused by that question. That those two things, see, pay mortgage or have huge amount of money just sitting there. So clarify. Well, I'll just go into what I think. I don't think those two things are consistent there. I am a fan. If you can't pay off the mortgage, I think you should have a huge amount of money just sitting there. I don't know what huge means, but I did a video on this about 3 months ago. I said, man, don't pay down your mortgage unless you can pay that sucker off. No way, no how. The reason for that is quite simple. It's because I don't know when the next shoe is going to drop. And having equity in your house doesn't put food on the table, especially if you're under the age of 62. It does not. But I can refinance. They're adding Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are adding another 50 basis point fee on refinance. And I think mortgage rates have actually crept up a little bit too. So I don't. Let's see what hold on just a sec. Let's see what the 10-year, the 10-year is still at 0.64. That's still low. The 30-year is at 1.35. I still think mortgage rates have crept up some, but they're going to add another fee to refinance on mortgages. For non-conventional mortgages, I think. And so because of that, it's just going to make it that much more expensive. Thus, to refi, as what I mean is to get money out of your home. So look, I got a big fat mortgage on this guy. I'll never be paid off. We're going to sell the sucker before we move, before this is paid off. There's just no two ways around that. We got a big house, a nice house in a nice place in northern Fulton County, a very wealthy environment that we live in. We bought the house quite cheap relative to what it is now. We bought it on the just as the upswing started kicking in 2012. But this neighborhood was down and out, man. It was down and out. This was supposed to be built out in 2006, and there was only one house up the street that was even built, and then the showroom house, that was it. Only got 21 houses in the neighborhood, but we bought I think the fourth house in the neighborhood. And I'm not gonna say for a song, we still paid money, but for what we got, for what we had in New Jersey, it was basically a swap. We swapped our New Jersey house, which is a hell of a lot smaller, for this in a freaking quiet cul-de-sac. Just on an acre and a half of wooded property, is freaking with half the property tax. It was a slam dunk for us. Anyway, the point is that this isn't going to be paid off by the time we downsize, which is in 7 years. So I'm paying off the mortgage just regularly, and I was paying an extra $1,000 a month to my mortgage and investing $1,000 into my not my IRA, to my brokerage account. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm putting $2,000 a month into my brokerage account. I'm going to pay off the mortgage like I normally would. About $1,500 a month goes to my principal. You know what I'm saying? So every month I'm paying $1,500 a month on my principal, but I'm paying a significant amount of my interest too. I think like $800 a month. So it's eating me alive. Trust me, I don't like it. But if the facts are, I'll never have 100% equity. I'll never have this thing paid off. And so because of that, I need to have money on the side, because if a second shoe drops, which is going to happen, the only thing that pays the bills is cash. That's it. And equity doesn't pay the bills. There's no other way around that. By the way, just as an FYI, Costco, let's see if we can find this. I want to show you something, because this, I tell you, man, I think I'll tell you what, hold on just a second. I'll be right back. I'm going to show you. You guys need to do this. Hold on just a second. Hey, what's up, girl? Oh, yeah, stay there with Chloe. All right, so I want to show you guys something. We got this in the mail today. Right here, you got these packs of food storage, and look, that's a lot. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot. But this right here, it's and I haven't looked in the details yet. I got a lot of Mount House. I got some Augustin Farms, but this right here is a smoking deal. It's a Chef's Banquet ARC 2020 food storage kit, 30-day supply, $100 with $25 off. I'm telling you right now that we've cleared the first issue of food supply shortages with the supply chain, the facts are we're not out of the woods on this by any stretch of the imagination. We're not. It's just so you've got to get some storage. And I don't get commission on this. I mean, you got to do what you got to do. But if you can get that for 25% off, I'd get a couple of these boxes. Look, I've been every month or so, I just buy a couple number 10 cans of Augustin Farms or Mountain Home or Mount House, whatever is on sale. And I just load up. It's just, I'm from Maine. And when you're born and raised in Maine and you live on an island, when fall comes, you get your preps in order. You got your freaking storm windows up. You get your preps in order. You know what I'm saying? You get your salt ready because it's winter's coming. If like that one stupid show on HBO, winter's coming. You know what I'm saying? And because that, you get ready. And I'm just telling you right now, the facts are we don't have the supply chain situated yet, not by any stretch of the imagination. Winter is coming. Anytime someone has a sniffle, people are going to freaking panic like it's insanity because everyone's scared for their lives. So what happens then comes wintertime? So we've dodged the bullet, you know what I'm saying? No one's starved to death. And but think about it. We're going into the winter and we're scared out of our freaking wits of this insanity. But be it as it may, and I don't care who's president, it doesn't matter. And I know everyone's saying if Biden wins or it doesn't matter by the election, this whole worry about coronavirus will go away. I don't think so. I think it's more than just a get Trump thing. I think it's literally global, totally. And because of that, there's still going to be look what's going on in Victoria in Australia. It's freaking insane. Look what's going on in New Zealand. And yet somehow we're bowing down, the mainstream media to this stupid lady in New Zealand. This is insane. It's insane. And so anyway, you got to get some supplies and get it now while it's cheap because this stuff is going to be gone shortly. And then the supply chain is going to break down and you're going to be like, man, what do I do now? And look, I got a garden out there. That's fine. It's awful hard to grow in the wintertime. I do have some LED lights and I grow inside. I got some aero gardens and stuff, but I mean, come on, just common sense, man. Anyway, so going back to my man, I am Jack Jesse. I'm like, dude, I'm talking not him specifically. I'm like, you cannot use equity to put food on the table. You can't. And when that second shoe drops, how are you going to pay the bills? How are you going to put food on the table? Anyway, so that's what I would do. Jimmy, what on? Studebaker, Jack Silverback, or Jay Silverback, Silverbaker. My man Roberto had COVID, but he was asymptomatic. Irregularities with the New Jersey test lab. Many tests. My wife, sister works at is a nurse, and she just literally just told me right before I got this thing that all kinds of people tested false positive. I won't say where, when, and how, but tons of people tested false positive. The whole thing's freaking corrupt. The whole thing is corrupt. I sit there and every day I'm just amazed the ignorance and the fear that Americans we thought were freedom lovers, and they're just not, man. They're not. It's nuts. It's scary. It's sad. They're just not. People, they're just not. They don't want freedom. They want to be told what to do. And I say they, not, I mean, there's a number of us who aren't like that, but I mean, let's admit it. There's a portion of America, a large subset of Americans who just want to be told how to live and let everything else go. Like my video, I almost titled it today, the one about my client almost died. But I almost titled it, We're Living Among Zombies, but these aren't zombies who want to eat brains. They're zombies who don't want to use their brains. And that wouldn't work in a title, though. It's too long. But I thought it was pretty good. I just came up with that. The zombies are everywhere, but they don't want to eat brains. They just don't want to use their own. All right, so my man Hot Job Kit says 44 years old. Should I do double up contributions by 457 or max out normal contributions? All right, so if you're going to retire in 3 years, I would be doing the latter of that. Max out normal contributions and stock up the rest in cash. Absolutely. Cash is king. You're going to need cash. Look, and when I say cash, I'm not talking about the physical dollar bills, even though that's nice to have. As someone was telling, who was it today? I was listening to a podcast when I was out there in the garden. Only 3% of the actual cash currency is actual physical cash. I think it's called an M3 currency or something like that. I said, damn, I didn't know it was that low. Like only 3% of what's actually in, cash is actually physical cash. Kind of crazy. So essentially, we're already a cashless society. I thought that was kind of crazy. Let's see. Well, all right, cool, man. Appreciate y'all being here. Were you talking about the new Broncos? There's a new Ford Bronco out there? Or the Broncos, like a new Broncos uniform. My odometer stopped at 102. Whoa, Hot Job Kid has access to 3% cash money market account? Damn, dude. That's freaking smoking. I would be I'd be loading up on that like crazy. Cash sitting around will actually lose with inflation. Will it? So we're going to do what we always do on this thing, in case we got new people. We're going to say, will it? Let's look at old Japan, shall we? And again, if you were here last night, you know what this is. This is my looking at the hockey at Stanley Cup champions and using 30-year rolling, not 30-year rolling, but we only have 3 30-year time frames of Stanley Cups. And if you were going to look at that as, well, the past shows you that the last 30 years, the Edmonton Oilers won 4 cups, Montreal won 12, and Toronto won 4. So I'm going to bet on one of those 4 teams. And other than Montreal in 1993, you would have been hurt. All right, so here's Japan. So will inflation eat that alive? So here's Japan historical inflation rate going back to 1960. And you can see, oops, hold on a second, just like us in the early 70s, it was quite high, and then it started going down a little bit. And look at that, 1983 is at 1.9. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. I mean, look at that. So from that's B26. So let's what is that? I-26. That's nuts, man. So if we go down here to I-26. So the Japanese inflation has averaged 0.66, 0.6 freaking 6 since 1983. I was 13 years old. Japanese inflation has averaged 0.66. That's freaking insane. I mean, that's just. All right, so let's go here. What's the markets? What's their markets done? We'll go here. So we want to go to F43. Since 1983, their markets have averaged F36. All right, so let's go down here. F36. 5.66 on the stocks in the last, basically 30 years has been a big fat goose egg. But I mean, look, 0.66. That's insane. And here's their growth rate since 1983. Because remember, low inflation, huh? Everyone says low inflation means, I keep screwing this up. One second. Where was it? Growth rate right there. All right, let's go ahead. So we go to 1983 is B is a M24. M24. Right there. M24. Let's see what their growth rate has done. 1.87. it's not as bad as I would have thought. But I mean, that's because the 80s were huge for Japan. But other than that, big fat nothing burger. Man, look, I can't get over 0.66. And here's their 10-year treasuries. Just average less than 100 basis points. Anyway, the point about that is, the point is, if we look at the Japanese debt to income ratio, oops, hold on a second. If we look at the Japanese GDP to debt, it's the highest in the world, and yet their inflation is nothing, their growth is nothing, unemployment is nothing. I was talking to a lady the other day, a husband and wife, very smart people, both PhDs, very, very intelligent. And basically, the woman said, so basically throw out all of our old economics textbooks. I said, yep, because they're stupid. I mean, all the economics textbooks none of them predicted where we are today. And there's nothing to learn from these things. If we want an economics textbook, it's up there someplace. Henry Hazlitt's Economics in One Lesson is the place to start. So if you look at Henry Hazlitt, Hazlitt, Economics in One Lesson, that's the best place you can start. All the other crap from Paul Samuelson, from John Maynard Keynes, hell, from even Milton Friedman, no one predicted where we are today. And it's silly. The Phillips curve, all that stuff is it's insane. Macroeconomics is it's fool's gold, all the way around that. Micro has some value, kind of like, what's the Darwinism say? Macroevolution and microevolution. Macroevolution, yawn. Microevolution, sure, absolutely. But macro, same kind of thing here. It's the exact same thing with economics. Macroeconomics would say, if we do this, if we pull the string here, this will go here. But this freaking command control crazy stuff. I'm sick of these people. All right, let's see. But the issue is with my man Jack Jesse, who knows? Who knows? No one has a clue. This is where I'm just, people want answers and there ain't none to be had. There is no answer to be had here. No one has a flipping clue. And people who say they know they don't. They're full of freaking, Pablo's last night's meal. They just have no clue at all. And the idea that anyone knows that, let me read this email to you. Some guy said, hold on just a second. I got this email today. It just bothered. I'm not the guy that bothered me, but the oh, not yet, not there. That's another one. Hold on just a second. Right here, I think. Yeah, right here. Hey, Josh, I plan to retire at 67. He'll be 62 in May. Recently watched an interview with Peter Schiff in which he said because of the pandemic, no one will be able to retire because Social Security is broke. Should I worry about this? Social Security has been broke Social Security has been broke for forever, essentially. I mean, forever. It's the biggest Ponzi scheme in the history of mankind. It's legal. And to say that doesn't mean I hate Social Security. I like Social Security. I'm okay. I would not have voted for it if I was in the Senate in 1934, 35, when FDR signed it. I would have voted against it. But Social Security is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. It's silly, the idea. And Peter Schiff is like, at some point, like Schiller, these guys will be right. And they're like, oh my goodness, Peter Schiff, Harry Dent, all these, the naysayers get all the free. It's like the climate change people, man. When are we gonna ever hold people accountable for their insanity on climate change? I get this. I'm somehow this guy. I'm on his list now. He wants to prove to me that climate change is happening and all this. I said I never said climate change doesn't happen. Hell, climate change happens before human beings are here, for heaven's sake. But he's saying the same stuff. I said, do you not realize they're saying the same exact thing about the Arctic ice caps in the 1920s and the 1890s? The same friggin' thing. Just look at your historical record about the Arctic ice caps. This is why I gave a video yesterday. Everyone should watch Tony Heller, because he goes into this part and parcel. I actually have a subscription to newspapers.com. It's actually fun to go back and stick these people with what the writings were of the 1920s, the physicists, the scientists, and all that back then, who said, it's the same friggin' stuff. And how I think what 2 inches a 100 years is what the sea levels rise, and 2 inches 100 years. I don't even think it's that. Maybe I don't know. Some around 2 inches every 100 years is what the sea levels rise. Is that attributed to the ice cap melting, or is it attributed to the ground sinking for gravity? Anyone knows? Is anyone's guess. But it's fun watching Tony Heller, where he says, "Okay, here's a picture 100 years ago. Here it is now. Yeah, I still see the exact same land that we saw 100 years ago." Anyway, I just the negative stuff drives me crazy. They're not getting rid of Social Security. It's not going to happen. All these people, my man Charlito Manny or something like that on this thing, he's like, Charlotte, or not Charlotte, Trump wants to get rid of Social Security. I'm like, oh my goodness. And yet Joe Biden actually advocated for a Social Security holiday as well. But Trump wants to get it permanently. I was like, oh. But you guys weren't up in arms about Social Security under Joe Biden when he was advocating for a payroll tax cut. You weren't advocating, you weren't freaking out about that, saying Biden wants to get rid of Social Security. But Trump says he wants to get it permanently. How do you do that? You have to do it by legislation. You can't. Trump just can't. Hopefully, I mean, who knows anymore with executive orders? Can't just sign an executive order like Obama. I got a phone and a pen. By the way, I was watching Bridget Fetisi. I like her. She was bashing Trump when Trump said in 1917 or 18 the Spanish flu stopped World War II. And she was like, Trump doesn't know when. I was like, oh, the guy. And the same thing when Obama said there are 57 states, or the Navy corpsmen. I said, just look, man, these guys, they talk. That's what they do. When you talk, you're going to say something stupid. I didn't like when the right got on Obama for 57 states. Like, Obama knows there's not 57 states. Come on. And I hate it when they say Obama said corpsman. I mean, he's reading off a teleprompter, man. Come on. And Trump saying, end of World War II in 1917. Oh, what an idiot. I'm just like, come on, man. Just stop. But the point about this kind of stuff with the negativity is it sells, man. There's no other way around that. It sells. And yet it's just, it's bordering on evil stuff that Schiff is saying, should I be worried about it? All right, so let's say you should worry about it. All right, I just wanted let's go down this my man Ronald. Let's say you should worry about it, Ronald. What are you going to do? All right, so if we're worrying about it, what are you going to do? That's the question. If all this stuff is going to happen, what are you going to do? Well, I would start by being prepared. That's what you got to do. You have food. You have some mechanism to clean your water with life straws. You know what I'm saying? With iodine tablets. You got to have some, some alcohol. I guess drinking alcohol, but alcohol to clean wounds. You got to have some hydrogen peroxide for sure. You got to have some seeds so you can grow some food. I mean, some backup batteries with some photovoltaic panels. Sure, all that stuff makes sense. But what else? I mean, so should you worry about it? All right, well, worry about it. What's that going to solve for you, man? Well, if I worry about it, then I'll put some more money away. Well, then why aren't you doing that already? So if we worry about it, what are you going to do about it? The whole point. It's kind of like the climate change stuff. We're all going to die because too much CO2. But what are you going to do about it? I'm going to go protest with Greta Thunberg. That doesn't do anything, because how are you getting AOC? How are you getting to these places to protest? You're taking a jet plane, and we all know the amount of CO2 spewed into the atmosphere by flying on just a good old-fashioned commercial jet. You flying from London to New York, round trip, spews as much CO2 in the atmosphere as my family electricity use in 6 months. All right, so that one round trip from you in a commercial jet, not a private jet, mind you, a commercial jet with 300 other passengers, back and forth from London to New York, you're spewing as much CO2 in the atmosphere as how much we use from an electrical perspective, my family, a 6 over 6 months' time. Roughly 33 kilowatt hours a day is what that equals. Yeah. So take that plane and shove it where the sun don't shine if you're going to sit there and tell me you're so scared about climate change because of CO2. If you are scared of climate change because of CO2, it's absolutely outrageous for you to get on the airplane. That's all there is to it. Airplanes are horrific. And then if you get on a cruise ship too, if you fly, like I have someone near and dear to my heart who flies from Los Angeles to Miami to get on a cruise ship to go all up and down the Atlantic Ocean back. And I said, and she's scared crapless about CO2. I'm like, yeah, that ain't gonna fly there, sister. You can't do that because cruise ships are even worse than airplanes. All right, let's see. Put a limit on a number of characters on the other. Put a limit on the number of characters on the other. Your average index. I caught Massey from Kentucky on TV. Oh yeah, I love my man Thomas Massey. Both had antibodies. So Thomas Massey for president in 2024. Huge fan of Thomas Massey. He's my kind of politician. He's a true green guy in that he runs his own. He slaughters his own hogs. He has solar. He runs a farming enterprise. He's doing the regenerative or regenerative, however you want to say it, and not sustainable. Sustainable, blah, organic, blah. I want to be sustainable. I want to be organic. The cliches just drop an anvil on my head. My man Thomas Massey's doing it right. He's a congressman from Kentucky. Big fan, big fan. First time, long time. Hello, Pablo. Remember when Pablo makes an appearance? You got to paw the like button. But anyway, so he said he and his wife both have antibodies that are now 3 times that level needed to donate plasma. Wow. Had a bad cold 4 days in January. What is library? So library is LBRY, Mary. It's I'm not all that sure. It's almost like they share. It's like a peer-to-peer kind of video sharing thing. I don't really know all that much how it works, but there is no banning or anything like that, if that makes sense. It's I love it. I think it's fantastic. I think it's actually the way. So if you may or may not remember that kid from Napster. What Napster was is you could basically upload your music that you're stealing from other bands, which I don't like, by the way. But what you did is you upload it to this main place someplace, and basically everyone's kind of sharing it. It's not. I don't know how the server farms work. I don't know. But basically, it's more what's the word I'm looking for? Radical in terms of it's not centralized, if that makes sense. So because it's not centralized, you don't have Susan Wiki, saying, "Oh my goodness, you said hydrochloroquine. We can't have that." With that said, YouTube, I think, has actually been pretty good in allowing freedom of speech on this whole thing. I know they got some stupid thing that says COVID-19. They got a thing on global warming. I get that. That's stupid, but that's nothing. It's when they start banning people with righteous concerns. Yeah, look, they did ban the guy, the doctors. I get that. That's ticked me off, but YouTube has been pretty good, man, in terms of this whole counter narrative to the commie virus. I'm actually frankly quite surprised that YouTube was able to go on and allow people to say what they're going to say. Yeah, I watch my man Dave Cullen a lot, and he's been ranking on these guys, and he's great from Ireland, computing forever. And anyway, so Dave Cullen, and he's still on there. I mean, he's still making money. I don't know how much money he's making on YouTube. Maybe not anything, but he's there. He's kicking butt. It's LBRY, Roberto. So library is like literally Libri. If LBRY.TV. I think more and more people are going to go there. The BitChute thing was, I like BitChute. It's just, I like YouTube's. I have the YouTube app, and because I have the app, it's just the first thing I do every day. What does Styx Hexhammer say? What's Clay Travis talking about today, sports wise? Literally that's the first thing I do. I look at who's posted stuff. Let's see, like did my what's gardening? I watch a lot of gardening channels. You know what I'm saying? So right now I got this Clay Travis, Tim Pool, and I watch some South Park cutouts. Obviously check out some tunes. New Center Maine, I watched New Center Maine. What are they talking about? $4,000 reward offered for missing trailer on New Center Maine. All right, watch my man David Hoffman. I like him. And it's just a nice, easy app to watch, man. You know what I'm saying? JP Sears, you know what I'm saying? I like him. Randy Marsh scared of bat, but Randy Marsh scared of bat dad, South Park Rocky, so I get a lot of South Park stuff because I'm mature like that. Now, I don't really watch that much Joe Rogan, but here's my Dave Cullen. Time for a change. The Irish people begin to rise. So I'm a big fan of computing forever, and you should be too. Dave is and there's my man JP Sears. Dave is one of these guys that was initially real concerned about the commie virus. I was just like, no, not you too. I was like, Glenn Reynolds from Insta Pundit was scared. Sticks Hexham was talking about it. I was like, and then Dave Cullen was like, oh. I was like, the people who saw that the climate change paranoia is fake science and they're falling for this stuff, why are they falling for it? And something happened to Dave back in the middle of March where he took a dramatic turn. I was like, thank God, because I love Dave Cullen. He introduced me to John Waters. You know, when I say introduced, just his books. And it's just fantastic. Anyway, so lots of stuff. But and BitChute doesn't have an app like that I could find. Library doesn't yet on iOS, but they're working on it, so it's coming. So I love it, man. And when they get those apps out there, because no one watches stuff on their laptops. By the way, if you guys are doing YouTube channels and stuff, anything that's a search engine, looks like a big that's not a big bump right there. SEO, search engine optimization. So if you're doing any kind of SEO, the laptops and they're my desktops are not what people are watching or reading anymore. It's all on phones. I learned this about 2 years ago, actually, from a man, Miles Beckler, Beckler, right here on YouTube. And I'm just telling you, if you're going to be doing any web-based content where you're trying to attract an audience, you got to make sure it's phone friendly. I cannot stress this enough. Very few people watch on laptops anymore, and YouTube actually promotes videos that are phone friendly. And you just got to keep that in mind. If you're typing up a blog post, it's got to be phone friendly. Please remember that. And that's why podcasts are so big. Podcasts I listen to on occasion, but I like YouTube better. But anyway, that's why podcasts are so good, because they're completely phone friendly. But a lot of people are not watching videos on their laptops, just FYI. In your experience, how much does an average couple have a net worth at age 60? I asked to see how I'm doing. Man, I have no idea. The average couple, that's completely contingent on so many different things. I wouldn't even know where to begin to estimate that. Texas country living. Kurt, my grandfather gave me the 442. I bought the right on. Yeah, that's organized. It is organized better than YouTube. Could not agree with that. They also allow you to have a message forum for your channel. Oh, that's fantastic. Man, that's crazy. Right on, Carl. I did not know that. Oh, that's fantastic. A message forum for my channel. Ooh, that's cool. Now, there's also something, Parler. I'm going to start doing that here a little bit. And then the other thing that, who was talking about this? I was listening to who was talking? It was something else, Telegraph or something like that. It's Curtis Stone from the Urban Farmer. Curtis Stone was talking about Telegraph. I don't know anything about that, but I was listening to it. He said he's a big fan of Telegraph. If y'all are familiar with that, I haven't looked at it yet, but Parler sounds pretty good too. So very much looking forward to it. Was Corona, did he have underlying conditions? RCT, that's what it was. Right on, Ben. Thank you. A double-blind placebo-controlled trial, says my man Ray from SMU. Double-blind placebo-controlled trial. Yep, you got it, man. At death's door, you try anything. Hell yeah, I'd try meth at death's door. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if I'm about to freaking been driving Honda Accords exclusively since 1983. Yep. Myself. If I'm sitting at death's door, dude, if I gotta kiss some ugly dude, I'm doing it. If that's what's gonna get me free, you see what I'm saying? Man, and I trust me, I don't like the fellas. They don't have any appeal to me at all. But if I gotta go that route, I'll go that route. I don't care. If I'm sitting there at freaking 108 or 102 fever for 8 straight days, and freaking I gotta kiss my ugly ass brother, I'm doing it. I don't care. Oh man. All right. Cuomo equals POS. Yes, sir. Is evil how they block H2Q? Do you see Dr. Harvey Risch from Yale on Levin last night? You must see it. If not, he said it's best very early outpatient and high risk people. And it's interesting. It's best very. I've heard that a number of times, but my this guy, he took it late and it still worked. And there's no other explanation that is other than it's HCQ. There's no other explanation. And it's sitting there. And his wife was telling me that she has like a niece or something like that, South Korea. And their kids are going to school they're in school, sitting in school in freaking wooden boxes. I couldn't quite visualize what's going on. But it's like they're sitting there. This is freaking evil, man. This is evil. Divide and conquer. Keep people away from other people so we can keep people fear. And fear people are easy to manipulate. Yeah, she's a Christian doctor who believes there are demons in this world. Jesus drove out demons, not crazy. She has saved 500 to 1,000 people already. Oh my goodness, she thinks there's demons. She's crazy, crazy. Bells, man. What the hell do you think Hitler was? Stalin. These are real people, but they're demons. Pay off or invest. I think you should. If it's paying it off, I'm paying it off. If it's paid off. What I mean by that, if you can have no mortgage, I'm paying that puppy off. That's all there is to it. If you have a mortgage still, I would not pay it off. I would invest. Absolutely. That's what I'm doing. That doesn't mean you should do it, but I can't pay it off. I got a mortgage bigger than my liquid assets. As such, I'm just investing and I'm just paying off my monthly payment. All right, Craig says, should I reduce my 401k contribution from 40% to 4%? I would like to start building cash. Does the payroll tax deduction incentivize this? I'm 53 and debt free. Man, you can still build cash, Craig, in a 53. So if you wait till you can still build cash in your deferred account, like a stable value fund. So just because it's a deferred account doesn't mean you have to invest it, if that makes sense. If you hang out at your job, I'm assuming you're not a first responder or a Leo, but if you're not if you hang out at your job until you're 55 and then you quit, you would actually have access to your money as long as you didn't roll it over to an IRA without being penalized. It'd still be taxed. So let's just say you retire when you're 55 years old. You've built up 100,000 in cash in a stable value fund inside your 401k, and you got 400,000 in stocks. Just using that for example, and then you retire. All right, all that money is accessible to you for sure, without penalty, because you separate from service at 55 or later, and you kept your account at your previous employer's plan, if that makes sense. So now you pull money out of the 100,000 cash. If your employer allowed you, I just talked to a guy yesterday or today, I can't remember. There's a stupid employer. It's just like the TSP. It says it has to be, it has to be proportional, which is freaking stupid. But anyway, I'm thinking I would go like this, man. I'd say, no, I don't know what kind of taxes you get while you're working, but my inclination is you're probably paying higher taxes while you're working than you will when you retire. So in my opinion, it'd be best to build up cash and take the tax deferral by keeping the 40%, if that makes sense. Now, there's a lot of that I don't know your situation, so I'll let you have to think on that. But yeah, Mary is refinancing to 2 3/4 from 4 1/8. Crazy. 2 3/4. Nuts. New Bronco is sweet. I want one, but committed to no car payment for next 5 years. My crappy Ford Focus will be paid off 2 years from now. I picked up some stock for some Ford stock for fun, 1,000 shares. Did you all hear that Exxon is getting off the Dow? Tell me that's not crazy. I mean, the Dow, it's not the S&P, but it's the Dow. I was like, Exxon is getting off the Dow and they're replacing it with, I thought I saw Salesforce or something like that. I don't know where's that here. Yeah, right here. Exxon Mobil dropped from Dow. Also leaving are Pfizer and Raytheon. They are being replaced by Amgen, Honeywell, and I thought I saw Salesforce. I found that to be crazy. Anyway, nuts to me. Citizens Bank says Mary where she's getting her 2 3/4. I just moved to a 20-year mortgage at 3%, was paying PMI, which is money in GAR. Yeah, couldn't agree more. Kurt says he's starting to do partial Roth conversions while tax is still on sale. That's a good way to look at it. Tax are on sale. I mean, tax rates are the lowest, they're probably going to be ever again, most likely. It's hard to imagine tax rates not going up. That's for sure. And look, if Trump, I do completely think Trump's going to win going away. I believe that's going to happen. Even if it does happen, I don't think he's going to retake the House, and so who knows what's going to happen in terms of solidifying the TCJA, the Tax Cut and Job Act of 2017. I don't know. So I got to assume it's going to sunset even if Trump wins re-election. I do. I think the Senate will be closer than it is now. I bet. I don't know about Susan Collins. The constituent service, like my mom, she's always a big lib. She always voted for Olympia Snowe in Maine, and the reason was because Olympia Snowe always had good constituent services. Whenever my mom called, and she called a lot, needing help from the government, Olympia Snowe's crack team, was there. And this is when Olympia Snowe was just a congresswoman too, by the way. Was there to provide constituent service. I mean, that's the power of the incumbency, man. No other way around that. And so I think Trump's going to win, but very few people actually lose seats in Congress. And because that, it's hard to see the Democrats not retaining the House, unfortunately. Never mind gerrymandering. I think the Senate, it could be a 50-50 split, maybe 51-49 with the Republicans. I mean, the Republicans should get Alabama back, but they could lose Maine. There's a couple other ones that are troubling. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. There's Kansas seems like it could be in play. Kansas is a very odd state, but Kansas is one that can be in play. Maine, obviously. There's a couple other ones. There's a Colorado. Do we get a senator? I can't remember, but we'll see. It's going to be challenged. So even if Trump wins going away, he's not going to have a legislative mandate by any stretch. I mean, hopefully he does, but I don't think he will. Doug says, are there any rules of thumb regarding growth versus income investing? Does it change with age, other income sources, etc.? Yeah, I don't. No, because income investing sounds like you're talking dividends and stuff. And I don't think you should say I'm 65 years old. I need to be more income investing oriented necessarily. I mean, when I say income investing, I'm just talking dividends, like value stocks. And look, I did a couple videos, Doug, on value stocks relative. On how no one knows nothing when it comes to stock market prognostication, and just because what happened in the past 30 years, we just don't know anything. At the end of the day, I will still default to value because it has less room to fall if things go south. I cannot stress this enough. The facts are they're kind of like Japan. Someone said last night, Japan might be a value stock, but also might be one deliberately because it's going bankrupt or something like that. There's something to be said about that. The reason a value stock is a value stock might be reasonable, that it's a crappy stock. Let's look at GE. I haven't looked at GE for a while, but GE was not was the blue chips for the longest time, even though freaking what's his name Immelt ran it to the ground. Yeah, GE still at $6, man. It's crazy. Still got no PE. Is that a value stock? It doesn't have a PE ratio. It's only got a 0.63% yield. So that's not a value stock in terms of the classic high yield, low dividend, or high yield, low dividend. I'm sorry, high dividend percentage, low price to earnings, and low price to book. I don't know what the PB is, but anyway, that doesn't qualify GE. So what would you qualify that as? A growth? I don't know. I mean, that's just speculative in my opinion, but it's crazy. So I just think for me, I say at the end of the day, I do believe in dividends. I think dividends play a huge role when the markets are getting crunched. I think for me personally, I'm losing money, or at least leaving money on the table, by not following the momentum. And I think my stubbornness of when I first started investing in the early 90s and started reading books on it has led me to the point where I firmly believe in value over growth, and the contrarian play of which value is. And I think that's a mistake, but I just cannot rid myself of that. And so because of that, I am a value stock income investor, income being synonymous with dividends. And that's probably a mistake, but I'm only 50, you know what I'm saying? And so for some guy who's 65, should he be the same? I don't know. I just think at the end of the day, have some money in S&P 500, split it up a little bit with Wellington or something like that, but certainly have some money in cash too. That's simply the way it's my investment recommendations at all times. Just a bill 02. I have a prior company 401k, I have a Roth, but no traditional. Once I retire at 55, well, I'll be able to roll part of that to the traditional and immediately convert to Roth. Yeah, absolutely. Just a bill. So Bill's got an old 401k. He's got a Roth. He says once you can do that now. I mean, if you got your 401k from a prior company, you can roll that over to your traditional and then a Roth right now. Hell, you can roll it directly to your Roth right now, brother. You don't need to wait to retire. You can move on that ASAP because it's not that old 401k has nothing to do with your current employer, so you can get that done. Maine is beautiful. It can be absolutely. Plan on retiring 2 years, as Craig C. Right on. I'm all stocked up on freeze dried peas. Right on, man. Whoa, Patrick just refinanced at 2.25. I'm assuming that's a 30-year. That's nuts, man. Anyone can do a backdoor Roth. It's insurance to have food on hand, same as car and home insurance. Yeah, except the nice thing about food insurance is that it will sustain you, where car and home insurance, all it does is replace something, but food will actually keep you alive, if that makes sense. Yeah, right on. So Jill says you can also save your cash in your 401k. Absolutely, could not agree more. Do you still recommend the Schwab Intelligent Portfolios? I do, Thomas. I've talked to a couple clients, and they're not as keen on them as I. And look, at the end of the day, their performance is somewhat lagging because they split it up. Actually, this is what I like about the Schwab Intelligent Portfolios. I probably need to do a video on this. They have their regular momentum-driven approach, just good old-fashioned S&P 500, and they have their fundamental approach on half of it as well. So they're doing exactly what I think should be done. They're saying, look, we have momentum and then we have fundamentals. And I actually like that approach a lot because they're saying they're hitting both sides of the equation. If you go all momentum all the time, and you're going to get smacked when the markets go against you. And it's going to happen. I just don't know when. If you go all half momentum, you're going to get the benefit of the upside and you're going to get killed on the downside, but you're only getting half. And then the other 50%, the fundamentals, going back to large cap value stocks, will probably shine the light of glory on the fact that 50% of your portfolio is getting skunked, but the other 50% of your portfolio is getting less skunked. I always say, what if we're wrong, if that makes sense, especially if I'm retired. So I'm building. If I'm wrong, it doesn't hurt me that much. If I'm decumulating, I'm pulling money out, it hurts a lot because if I make a gamble on something, that gamble is wrong, I don't have time to recover from that. So I like kind of hitting both sides of the equation. It's a hedge, man. It's a hedge against certain types of investment strategies. So I'm a big fan of that without question. I think a lot of people, unfortunately, they look at the last 3 to 5 years and say the Schwab Intelligent Portfolios or any fund has underperformed relative to this, and thus it's a crappy thing. I've heard that so many times in my 25 years of experience. I say, I don't think you should do that. I think you should just hold out and recognize you're still making money. I like my value fund, VTV. That's what I own. That's my primary holding, VTV. Not up as much as VUG by any stretch of the imagination, but still making money. And I'm pretty comfortable with that. And the fact that it's not up as much because it's not as momentum as value as opposed to growth. When the downside comes, it should be down less. I would presume. I have no idea, but that's my goal. But at the end of the day, the nice thing about value stocks is that you're getting a dividend to give you more of a buffer. I think a lot of people overlook how strategic dividends can be when the market's getting hammered because you are still getting those dividends and they're reinvesting at a lower and lower share price. Dollar cost averaging is a wonderful thing. Buy Goya. Well, my wife hates me stockpiling huge man, slim dog. Woo! You should see my basement, my LED lights, my grill lights, and all that. She is not a fan. I try to keep her out of the basement, and every time she comes down, and I got these freaking redneck engineered things like you wouldn't believe down there, and not a fan is old Charlotte. And I'm like, you're gonna rue the day. You're gonna rue it. You're gonna come down here one of these days saying, "Do you have any food, honey?" And I say, "Yeah, told you." And I do a lot of not freeze drying, dehydrating and vacuum sealing those. I do a lot of that. So I'll buy tons of ground beef at Costco. Whereas I was looking at one place the other day, they're advertising on Breitbart. I said, "Oh yeah, I want to do that." It's like I can't really get a huge amount of freaking ground beef, grass fed, for like $100. I can't remember how many pounds it was, but it was a good deal. I said, "Yeah," and I'm just gonna freaking dehydrate that like a crazy man, vacuum seal those, and those should last 3 to 5 years or something. I got to look at this book right here. because these guys talk about how long you can keep stuff, before it runs out, before it gets bad. And they got one I got to read right here. It's hold on just a second. I'll tell you, it's one chapter right here. Thermal and non-thermal preservation methods. Thermal preservation method, non-thermal preservation method. Let's see. They also have something in here: dietary supplements, dairy ingredients as source of functional foods, pre and probiotics, fats and oils and their effects on health. There was another thing in here: flavoring systems for functional foods, food fortifications with vitamin and mineral how wasn't that though? Antioxidants and their effect on health. Dietary fiber and psychological effect. But anyway, there's tons of stuff on here on your ability to preserve foods and how long it's good for. And these are real scientists, because I believe in the science. Oh boy. Stores are now low on paper towels. Oh, geez Louise. Have you, my man Carl says, and beans, I tell you, beans are easy to grow too, man. That's the thing. Beans are easy to grow. So there's no reason you can't be growing beans. Thank you for, there you go. Hey, Rebecca. Jill, you just knocked out your first person. How's that feel? I didn't see what this guy says, oil or 93, but Jill said kaboom. All right, so Carl K had asked me a question, and all right. What do you say? He said, Josh, have you done or can you do a video and determine whether Roth conversions are economically worthwhile and right capital? Yeah, dude, I've been meaning to do that. Yes, sir. Load it up on Goya beans. That's probably not a bad idea. That's probably not a bad idea at all, man. Oh, paper towels still out of stock. That's not a bad idea. If you load up on Goya beans as a twofer, you're loading up on beans and you're helping out the Goya group there. And actually, what I did, I tried to do some Goya beans. I bought a bag. I soaked them, and then I try to grow some to see if they sprout just kind of on their own with a growing medium downstairs in my little freaking white trash greenhouse that I got down there. It's very simple. We got some takeout, and I was watching my man Kang Star, and he takes all his takeout and he uses the like, if you go to I got some pancakes from Cracker Barrel, truth be known, and the Cracker Barrel they give you with a cover, a plastic cover, and a black bottom. It's a perfect greenhouse, man. It's perfect. And I took some Goya, I soaked them for 8 hours or something. I laid them flat on a growing medium. I think what was I using? I can't remember, but it was not anything fancy. And they sprouted, but they stunk like freaking hell. So I just chucked them. But they did sprout, and so you can take those Goya beans and save them, and presumably some of them will germinate where you could grow some more later on, if that makes sense. I don't know how long. I got a pound of radish seeds from 2017 that I'm out there. I got out there as microgreens right now outside. 4 flats, and they're freaking germinating like crazy. They're from 2017. And that's 17, 18, 19, that's 4 years old these guys are, and they're germinating like crazy. And I got 4 big flats out there, and they're sprouting good. So some of those beans you save and seeds, you never know. You might be able to get some germination out of it. I know for a fact. I got a bag of Goya beans. It germinated. I know that for a fact. Now, it did not smell good, so that's not something you want to grow inside your house. So you definitely want to plant that outside and not really a microgreen. But it worked. You could sprout other beans from that, guaranteed, because I did. I did it myself. It's crazy. Biden Harris for all. How much food should be stocking up? Well, you got to think about water too. So I think we each need, 4 liters of water a day or something like that per person. So you're not gonna have a 2,000 calorie stock meal, that's for sure. It's not. So I would be stocking up. I mean, I don't know how much you should, but you think about it, 2 meals a day is really all you need, frankly. So 2 meals a day, 750 calories a pop. That's 1,500 calories per person. I think that's a good place to look at. So you say we need about 1,500 calories per person per day. That's minimal, but that's going to start, and we're going to need a month. I say you need a month's worth of food to be stocked up because you think about it, if the grid goes down, supply chains go down, and all that. And I'm not talking about the zombies. I'm not talking about Black Lives Matter, coming up in Antifa robbing you. Those things are not likely to happen. I'm just talking about the grid going down, just the supply chains being corrupted. You know what I'm saying? Manufacturers being put out of business because of comedy virus reaction. The comedy virus isn't what had this happen to us. It was the insane reaction that did this. But anyway, and then of course the globalization and whatever, the trade, all this stuff. So at the end of the day, you need it for about a month. You're gonna need some water. And I'm telling you, man, just every time you go to Costco, get one of those big freaking things of water and just put in. My wife hates when I do that too, but I'm just telling you. The funny thing is my wife hates when I do these things. And then lo and behold, there always comes like we ran out of brown sugar the other day. I'm trying to make some freaking oatmeal chocolate chip cookies. And anyone who ever says ever on this channel that oatmeal raisin cookies, you will be banned quicker than freaking a Nolan Ryan fastball. All right. Because oatmeal raisin cookies are communist. That's ugly. That's disgusting. And you should be ashamed of yourself. Oatmeal chocolate chip cookies are American, baby. Oatmeal raisin cookies, no, go back to China. Go back to Russia, as Barney from The Simpsons said. Or he said, go back to Cuba. Anyway, oatmeal raisin cookies. I just want to jump off a bridge. Anyway, so I was trying to make some oatmeal cookies, and lo and behold, I text my wife. I said, or my family said, do we got brown sugar? And my wife said, yeah. I said, okay. Don't need to buy any brown sugar. Get home, no brown sugar. I said, this is why I stock up, because one is none and two is for you, as I learned from Steve Harris at battery1234.com. Steve Harris, one is none, two is for you, which means you always need a replacement because you're always going to be shocked that you didn't have what you thought you did in your preps. And sure enough, we had no brown sugar. Hey, not fun. So anyway, the issue is you always got to find out you need more than less. That's just a fact. Now, let's be honest here. At the end of the day, if the friggin' zombies do come, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and they find that you have food, your goose is cooked. There's no other way around that. So you want enough food to help your neighbors if that comes to say, going bad. Look, man, I got tons of tomatoes out there. They're not. There's some tomato. If you have a tomato, it gets a little bit moist. It starts cracking a little bit. Not a very pleasant looking tomato, but it tastes fine. So I slice those up and I freaking dehydrate them and I put them in a vacuum sealer. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's going to work, man. You see what I'm saying? All that stuff. You got some cucumbers, slice them up. I got my mandolin, which sliced my finger off a couple weeks back almost, but you slice those suckers up, put them on a dehydrator, freaking put them in a vacuum bag. And, you can save those for many, 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 many years. They're not going to be perfect and they're probably not going to taste that great, but if it's dehydrated, they're light, they'll last a long time. And, that's what a garden is perfect for. I mean, obviously you want to eat the fresh stuff is great, but you go to Costco, you get these huge bags of carrots, slice those suckers up. You got carrots. I mean, that's the thing about fruit and vegetables. I mean, it's not that expensive. And you can, every time you go to Costco, you just buy a couple of extra things, you slice it up, take a half hour, slice it up, put it on a dehydrator, let it sit there for 8 to 10 hours, come back the next day, put it in a vacuum sealed bag, vacuum seal that sucker. If you do that every other week or so, you're going to find yourself with a pretty significant storage of good food for sure. I have a friend who is 60 or 50, 500K in cash, 100K IRA, no mortgage, too early to retire. I don't know. My inclination, no mortgage is probably not too early to retire, but I don't know what your expenses are. I mean, that's the issue. Until we know expenses, he might be freaking shooting stuff up his veins so he doesn't have a mortgage because he's squatting in someone's house. I don't know. But my presumption, if you don't have a mortgage, you're probably doing okay and he's probably going to be all right. But until we know expenses, brother, it's anyone's guess. If you can't see the absolute chaos that's coming, you need your head examined. This country's under attack. It really is. I mean, I don't know what thoughts on sabbaticals and impact on career. At Schwab, they let you have a sabbatical every 10 years. And I know people took that, had no, maybe 5 years, 10, and it had no effect on their career. I think at the end of the day, having a sabbatical to get your brain situated is always worth it. The drawback is, let's admit, there is no place for middle-aged men in the society who are making decent money to get another job. If you take a sabbatical, if you're a middle-aged guy, I don't care what race you are, if you're a middle-aged man, you're just not valuable to corporate America. It's just all there is to it. If you're a middle-aged white guy, you're even less valuable. So if you're a middle-aged guy of any race and you're making decent money, there is no place at the table for you if you leave. So just be advised, middle-aged men who are making decent scratch, they want you to take a sabbatical so they can say, yeah, you know, your skill set is less. So we can get this guy for half price, and he's not on the pension. We can boss around, and he doesn't have critical thought, so he'll do exactly what we say. You got to be careful there, David. I'm telling you. This is why I tell when I do financial plans for people, I don't even care. Literally, I don't care who you are. I always tell the men, if you're 58 and you're making six figures and you decide to leave, you doggone better get your stuff in order, because you're not coming back. No one wants your kind. They don't. And again, I don't care if you're freaking Muslim, if you're Christian, if you're atheist, if you're white, black, pink, purple, that you're not coming back. It's that no one wants you. And that's just a fact. You're too costly, and you're a man. You know, men are evil. What did that stupid blonde head lady say? I don't know. That's some stupid Tory or something like that. I don't get why everyone thinks she's hot. I'm like, ugh, she's gonna do anything for me at all. Anyway, but all these guys are talking about Tory Wayman or something like that. She's saying men are blah blah blah. Who cares what some stupid yellowhead? I just don't care. For your information, helping a small town Republican office in Minnesota opened last Wednesday. Have been through hundreds of signs and flags. A lot of enthused people. This is the broken glass election, Ken. I'm telling you, we thought the broken glass election was in 2004 for George W. Bush. I thought the same, and mistakenly, I truly believe that if Bush, let's just put it, that changed. This is it. I'm telling you, man, they thought they had it 2016, the globalists. They thought they had it in the bag. And that way if you just look at what's going on in the FBI, if you don't read the conservative treehouse, look, that guy gets so deep in the weeds with these freaking scoundrels. It's just depressing. These guys were so convinced they had it in the bag in 2016. They didn't even try anymore. They did not even try. Lisa Page, Peter Strzok, all these, it's insane. Anyways, Trump wins, and obviously they concoct some crazy, stupid stuff. I get all that. But it put the globalist takeover on hold, and that is coming back even with Trump in office. And how ironic that happened in this election year. The issue that I hope and I think they shot too soon. They should have waited, if that makes sense. And I think they should have waited to lock everything down and make everyone fired up and all that, to get really rabble-roused about George Floyd. You know, it's funny. They're just on our local news. They're saying George Floyd, this clown up in Minnesota, Wisconsin, and then this guy the guy down here, Rashad Brooks or something like that. All these guys let's just put it this way, and you don't have to be anti or pro cop to recognize this. All right. George Floyd was high as a kite. We all know that. He was on fentanyl. We all know that. That is a fact. And the thing that pisses me off, we got so many people that we can look to heroes for blacks who have been abused by people, by the authorities and whatnot. The idea that we're making freaking George Floyd, this guy up in Kenosha, and then this Brooks guy down here in Atlanta as Emmett, what's his name there? Emmett, you know what I'm talking about. Emmett, what's that guy's name? John, but you know what I'm talking about. It's insane, man. It's insane. We're trying to couch these guys as if they're like Emmett, I've drawn a blank, or all the freaking other many black people who are good, who are victimized by a system that's gone awry. To equate these things are freaking insane. It's insane. And I tell you, people are pissed off. I know I am. And I sit in there, I think, because they had, who was the guy in Minnesota? Philande Castile. That guy was wronged. There's no other way around that. That guy was innocent. And there's other people like that. But these guys are not. They're not. They're not innocent, man. They're bad guys. And to sit there and say, it's insane. It's insane. Why are you using It's crazy to me. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And then at the same time, we see a guy like Ben Carson, Ben flipping Carson, who's smarter than any of us times 10 on here combined. And I'm sitting there thinking, here's a guy. Why are we not celebrating people like this? Oh, man. If there's anything I was hoping Obama would have done, he tried to. And Bill Cosby just, when why? I just sat there. I said, they had such a good freaking, that Bill Cosby turned out to be a scumbag. It killed me inside. But I thought Obama just, look, for all the rights and wrongs about Obama, but, it seemed like he loved his wife and his kids. You see what I'm saying? It probably helped more than Trump does, to be perfectly honest with you. And I don't know why that wasn't more, got more street cred to say, of all the stuff with Obama, he loves his wife and kids, and a stable society with a husband and wife and children is always a better society. And that just is still to this day, just it irks me that we couldn't see that for showing the way of a family structure and loving your wife and your children. Now I don't know what's going on personally. I have no idea if Obama's freaking out. I have no idea. I don't care. At the end of the day, the premise was that Obama loved Michelle and they loved their children. Look, and maybe their children are going off the deep end. Well, welcome to the club, man. Kids go off the deep end every single time. I thought that would be a wonderful, wonderful thing to say. Look, family still needs to come first at all times, and I just don't. I don't blame Obama for that. I don't. I think it's the nature of politics where they divide as opposed to bring people together. But I'm sitting there thinking, there are people who've been brutalized by authority, and to focus on these guys, it's insane to me. I don't understand it. It actually it ticks me off. Anyway, the whole point is, people are fired up, dude. They don't like this idea of defunding the police. It's insane. They see what's going on, and they know that if they just know in their heart, if Biden wins, this is going to happen more. Because what's going to happen is that, look, Biden's already say this guy who got killed, it was systematic racism. The first thing they say, just like Obama said in that, the thing with Cambridge with what's his name. Remember that cop in Cambridge? I forgot what it was back in basically Obama's first thing. The first thing they say is the cop acted stupidly. And trust me, many cops do act stupidly, but maybe get your freaking, the stuff before you start saying that. And the first thing that people say, why is it always that these guys always want to blame the cops first and foremost? And the more information that comes out, the more you're saying, what was the cop supposed to do? You see what I'm saying? And so what happens here is, unfortunately, you're using these bad examples to permeate the what is literally not happening about this, and really create chaos. And the left thinks that that's going to help them politically. And I keep going. I guess it's sad, man. It's not. It's not going to help them politically. But the problem is, if Biden gets in there, it ain't Biden. It's the DOJ. You get another guy clown like Eric Holder, or hell, even worse, like freaking Keith Ellison up there in Minnesota. You get a guy like that running the DOJ. That's freaking scary stuff, dudes. That is scary. Eric Holder was a clown, a scumbag, POS like you couldn't believe. And he did some evil, crappy stuff. Man, that's just the beginning of how bad it's going to be with Biden DOJ. That's where the power lay. It lays in the DOJ. Executive orders, yes. The DOJ is where the power is, because they're going to go after friggin' sheriff's departments, municipalities like you wouldn't believe. And it's going to get ugly. And I'm telling you, it's going to get friggin' ugly if that happens. Has nothing to do with Biden tax cuts. Nothing. It's got to do with this kind of stuff. And I'm telling you right now, man, it's going to be ugly, because that is going to be a significant, the cops, anything they do, they'll have to justify themselves. And they're always going to be on the guilt assumed. But remember, Paul Howard, my guy here in Fulton County, he went after 2 black cops for using tasers, saying that was a lethal weapon. 2 weeks later, the white cop who he went after was tasered by that Brooks guy, Rashard Brooks guy. All right. So Paul Howard went after 2 black cops for tasering people because they tased them using use of a deadly weapon. That same freaking ass clown goes after the cop, another cop who just happens to be white, because he was hit with a taser and he fired back in self-defense. There's no logic here. It's evil stuff. And so if you're a cop in Atlanta, you're saying I can't win. If I get tasered and I use my freaking firearm in self-defense, I'm going to be facing a murder and a death penalty potentially, which will never happen. The other cops are out in the street for using a taser. Black cops too, by the way. Who the hell wants to join that crap, man? So no one's going to want to join that other than Chavistas. This is what, if you look at Venezuela, who is the police force, the true police force in Venezuela? It's the loyalists to Hugo Chavez. Yes, I know Hugo Chavez is dead, but the Chavistas still remain. And that's the police force that is going to become assuming more and more authority under a Biden friggin' presidency, man. And not to see that is nuts to me. It has nothing to do with tax cuts. I mean, the Green New Deal is stupid, but this is the problem that we have right here. And I think a lot of people on the libertarian side, which I am, who says, I think drugs should be all legal. I don't like the death penalty. I think the cops have too much power. I'll tell you that right now. I've never liked freaking asset forfeiture. That's a freaking clown show right there. I've never liked that. There's tons of stuff I don't like that police can get away with. That's not right. You know what I'm saying? I just tons of stuff. But if that is what I have to contend with in order to at least keep the freaking zombies at bay who are coming because they have the blessing of the DOJ, well, hell, I'm going to vote my life depends on it because it might. And I'm in Fulton County because we're dealing with that right now. And if you're the McCloskeys in St. Louis, well, hell's bells. You try to defend yourself and now you are under arrest. It's crazy. All right, we'll round up here. Hey, Sergio. Ooh, Scotty Kilmer doesn't give the new Bronco good marks. I love Scotty. Is Scotty drunk or is he just is it just a character? Question: if not answered, I'm a finance student. Was wondering if you knew any good jobs to start with no experience in the bank. Tim, start as a platform person in the bank. Absolutely. Platform person, opening checking accounts, doing home equity lines of credit, helping old ladies manage their checkbook. I'm telling you, that's part of the job. You'll learn annuities. I don't know if they still do that anymore, but that's what I did. That's the best experience you'll get. Work for 2 years as a bank platform rep. I'm telling you right now. Should I have in cryptocurrency? I don't know the first thing about it. The people I follow all love it, but I don't know, man. I don't know that much about it. All the libertarian what do they call them? ANCAPs, anarchist, capitalist. They're all high on it, but I just don't know that much about it. You'd have to do your own research. Social Security would be fun if they stopped borrowing from it. Even a broken clock should write twice a day. Yep. I wish Bush's proposal to allow 2% of our Social Security payment to be private invested was passed. 51, I'm not expecting, but half the projected payout. I'm 48 projecting a 75% payout to be prudent. Not me, man. Let's see. Oh boy. I have CDs coming due at 2%. Where should I put it? Yields are so low. I sat through a 2.5-hour webinar today about CO2, methane, greenhouse gases. It went back a couple million years by proxy testing. Boring. They're working to narrow down test accuracy. My man says, Sergio, what's my thoughts on barbell using reverse line of credit? Let's as your cash plate looming 100%. Yeah, I love it, dude. I'm like Sergio. I'm even more of a proponent of reverse mortgages as we get even more into this low interest rate environment. Absolutely. I'm a huge fan of reverse mortgages. You know, for people who are going to stay in their house for sure. It's still tough to get people to at least hear it out, though. It's crazy, but those days will change when we continue to have low interest rates. People recognize that relying on a stock market that's becoming more and more volatile, a little bit scary, low interest rates, you know, and then they see the biggest holding that most middle class investors have is their equity in their home. Not to at least consider that for retirement doesn't make sense to me. So 11 supply tankers are the worst when it comes to polluting. Yeah, thanks, Jill. 11 supply tankers. My question is to the ones raising hell and climate change: are you willing to do today to make your life the difference? They're not, dude. They're not going to do anything to make a difference. They're just going to preach, and yet they're going to be Greta Thunberg preaching. But remember, Greta Thunberg is just a freaking shell for her parents. Her parents love the limelight. Josh is a great guy, said Jill. The pool's done, man. It's done. It's freaking awesome. Except it's been raining here last couple days. It's fantastic. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Even the boys are out there. Instead of getting on their electronics, they go to the pool once in a while. What's the best type of account to have the bills get paid without having people take advantage of you? Probably got to get a living trust and have a successor trustee, TJ, and a successor trustee with the person who steps in when you're incapacitated. That's what I would probably recommend there. If a lot of people with Alzheimer's will have a trust, and it's a living trust, and they'll name, they're someone that they trust to be the successor trustee to get all that done for them. Or a corporate trustee, but there's always a pretty significant fee there, like a bank. So I don't know if I like that, but it's a tough one, man. POA to trusted family member. The power of attorney's got to be durable. Just make sure it's durable. Power of attorney means it survives incapacity. A general power of attorney stops at incapacity, and a springing power of attorney literally springs into effect once you're incapacitated. Of course, the question is determining incapacity is not a pleasant thing. Hey, right on. I am Jack Jesse says he got a message today, and that's how he came here. Right on. That's cool. That's weird. Where do people get message? I can't remember how that works. I don't know how that works at YouTube. Fear is the government's greatest weapon. Yeah. All right. So let's, Frederick, in my Roth, I'm investing aggressively in my individual 401k. Should I put Wellington? Yeah, I think that's a good move, man. 100%. Frederick, your Wellington, your individual 401k, your tax deferred should be, if you own any bonds, they should be in there. No bonds in a Roth. Everybody now, no bonds in a Roth. No bonds in a Roth. You say it. No bonds in a Roth. So you want, in this case, you want your Wellington inside your traditional 401k, your deferred and growth stuff in your Roth. And Wellington has about 35% bonds, so that's good. I know it's weird, man. Exxon off, Amgen, Honeywell, and Salesforce on the Dow. That's just strange. Nancy's going to keep the house. Snow is gone. What are you talking about, brother? What does snow being gone mean? I don't understand, but I think your Nancy's probably going to keep the house. Gerrymandering works. It works for for either side, frankly. It's one of the reasons we have such a politically violent process is the gerrymandering. You get a bunch of crazies, mostly on your side, Sam. Cynthia McKinney, remember her? Who's a crazy lady out there now? Presley, obviously AOC. And we wouldn't have these people if there were no gerrymandering. Do I like HSA investment side? Do I like 40% Wellesley with 40%? I'm not sure what VIIX is. Is that the, I think it's the institutional index 500. Yeah, absolutely. I got no qualm with that at all, man. Honeywell, I'm a VTI recommend by another here. Looks at, yeah, VTI. Sam and Jill, the battle royale. You guys should put money on it. We should take a bet. Who makes money? Does YouTube get mad if you bet? Sam said he could be a multimillionaire. Anything is possible. We'll see, man. I don't know, Ray. I think Biden's been I don't think he's going to come out as bad as a lot of people think he's going to come. I don't think so. I think we shall see. All he has to do is not freaking drool, and he'll be declared the winner. We all know that. I mean, but I just think be prepared that Biden is not going to look as bad as what a lot of people think. Moscow Mitch. Hi, Josh. Please tell the best way to work a new car into a retirement plan. Lease, really lease. If that's what you're trying to do, keep your payments down. Hopefully, pay that sucker off when the lease is up. I'm a big fan of leasing, frankly. If you need a new car, in my book, I had written about that. My first, this is my first book I'd written, and I talked about it's okay to lease a vehicle. I was always against it until the real world happened for your old buddy Josh. And I say, reliable transportation without breaking the bank is one of my chapters where I talk about how we had to get a lease, and it worked out like great. It worked out. Sam, I completely agree. More than 80% of the blacks want the police. You'll miss the point when it comes to blacks. I don't know, what does that mean? I completely agree that if, because who, well, I don't, what does it mean? I'll miss the point when it comes to blacks. I completely agree. Because who's the ones that are suffering? Because the criminals. It's not white suburbanites, at least not yet. So I don't get it, man. What missed the point? Yeah, dude. It's leasing a car. A lot of people are against leasing cars, Doug, and I think they're so the example real quick. The example I use is that when we had no money and our minivan broke down, it was in a South San Antonio mall. It was the middle of summertime, and I can't remember what it was. The alternator, I forgot what it was. But anyway, I just off the top of my head, I can't remember. It would not work. My wife had 4 young children with her, and I had just started my job at USA. And let's just put my car, the air conditioning didn't work either. All right. So we had nothing. And there's no other way we couldn't afford a $700 a month payment on a brand new, this 2010 Honda Odyssey. And right on. And so the only option we had was leasing, and even a used car at 40,000 or a 25 or something like that, we couldn't afford, man. So we had to, yeah, right. I know Dave Ramsey will call me an idiot for leasing a car, and that's one of my issues with Dave Ramsey. I just you, I mean, what else were we supposed to do? You see what I'm saying? I mean, we had an old a green Dodge Caravan. I don't think it's a Grand Caravan, 2002, I think, and it worked great until it didn't. You know what I'm saying? And I think there's the alternate, but something else was. But anyway, long story short, I just remember we couldn't afford it. We had to pay to get it fixed, a couple $1,000, which we didn't have, and it just sucked. It sucked. And I was like, well, we need something. You know, I got 4 kids. My car doesn't have air conditioning. The air conditioner wasn't working. I had to drive back and forth to USA in the middle of freaking summer in South Texas. Yeah, what am I supposed to do, Dave Ramsey? Anyway, long story short, we ended up leasing the 2010 Honda Odyssey. We paid it off, and that's the car we gave to these people last year, whose sister died, and she basically adopted her sister's children. And it's it doesn't it's not the spiffiest thing on the planet, but it freaking gets the jobs done. In fact, they're coming over on Saturday to enjoy our pool, as a matter of fact. So it's pretty cool, man. We're gonna have these guys come over on Saturday. I just it makes me happy thinking from where we were 12 years ago to where we are now, that we can give to people who need it without just, and then share the pool we got, even for a day. Just it makes me happy. No other way around that. It's a wonderful feeling being able to help people out, even if they don't ask, if that makes sense. But by volunteering and say, hey, if you need this, you can have it. No worries. What a great feeling. It makes you feel so good. All right. Dave would say, but he was kind of like, there's an old Saturday Night Live skit that had a guy, Susie Orman. The guy was down to his last penny, and he's on like an old, telephone calling Susie Orman, says, Susie, I don't have any money. What should I do? And Susie Orman says, you should go into your emergency account. And he's like, I don't have an emergency account. Well, you should. It's just the same thing with Dave. Buy a used car with cash. All right, Dave, how do I get to work there, big guy? how does my wife drive around with a car that's not working? How do we get out of a So the point is, San Antonio is not a good place to have your wife and 4 young kids break down, if that makes sense. And just come on, can we be realistic and then stop calling people idiots if they have to do something that's not orthodox to get by? And this is what freaking pisses me off. Oh, this is stupid. Like, that's not stupid. You got to take care of yourself first. You got to get by the day. If you can get by today, you'll live to fight tomorrow. If I sit there and say, what am I going to do? Take a bike to work, Dave, down I-10 in San Antonio so I can save up cash in my envelopes before I can buy a new car? I mean, it's freaking stupid, man. It's just dumb. I'm sitting there thinking, can just common sense. I got to get by the day. It'd be great if I had an emergency account, Susie Orman. Dave, it'd be great if I had envelopes where I could freaking borrow, or I didn't have to borrow to buy a car. Most people don't there, brother. So what are you going to do? You, ay, drives me up the wall. I'm sitting there thinking, and the sad thing is, because the adamant of Dave and these ladies, Susie Orman, there's another lady too. I forgot her name, but because they're so all right, looks like I'm all right. Ooh, time to put the boys to bed. All right. How much retirement would you need to have to pay make sense to buy a new car with cash? How much retirement money would you need to have for it to make sense? I don't know, Debbie. That'd be I don't know. I do it. It completely depends on what your situation is. All right. Looks like I'm getting ready to put the boys night night, but appreciate y'all being here. Yeah, we'll see. We'll put a friendly wager with old Sam on what happens for the election. So my prediction is the House stays with the Dems. Trumpster wins going away. And I think the Senate will probably 50-50 is my prediction. You heard it here first. So right on. Yo, Pappy, a swimming pool is a great water reserve. And that's exact. I cannot agree more. All right. Appreciate y'all being here. We'll see you next time. And thanks again for being here. Thanks now. All right.